Fall of Giants takes place in Washington, Paris, St. Petersburg, Berlin, but also, of course, in London. And this is London, and these are the streets, and these are the buildings where the great events of history take place, and the small events, the little domestic dramas of the lives of the people in the story. We're going past a building whose address is number 1 London. This park on the left is St. James's Park, and on the eve of the First World War, when the war was about to break out, the British Foreign Secretary summoned the German ambassador. So the German ambassador walked out of the German embassy, which is on the other side of the park, walked across this park and up to the Foreign Office at 6 o'clock in the morning, very early in the morning, and went into the Foreign Office and sat down with the British Foreign Secretary, and between them they tried to stop the war happening, and of course they failed, tragically. This is the Foreign Office. An incredibly grand, luxurious building. People who came here in the early part of the 20th century said that this building gave a message. It said, we are the richest and most powerful people in the world, and we can do anything we like. This is where great events take place. Royal events take place in this building. But of course, I set scenes in this building just because I like it so much. So this is where the intelligence guy from the German embassy meets his spy from the Russian embassy. It was an authorial whim. They had to meet somewhere. It's actually quite logical because there's always a crowd. So you can get lost in the crowd and nobody notices you. But it was also an excuse for me to describe buildings that I'm very fond of. Like this one. This enormous Victorian palace is the scene of several highly dramatic moments in Fall of Giants. Of course, there's the moment when this country decides to go to war. A debate in the House of Commons with MPs cheering, people in the gallery. There's the struggle over votes for women, which took place to some extent in this building, and of course outside it, where women held demonstrations, suffragettes held demonstrations which often ended in violence. So this is where some of the great decisions are made, but the focus of the book, of course, is on the individual people who are affected by those decisions and how they're affected. And Ethel, who's one of our principal characters, is so angry and disappointed that she stands up and starts shouting out the names of the people from her town who died at the Battle of the Somme. And of course they say, shush, sit down, and she won't. She keeps on shouting out these names, and eventually the ushers come and drag her away, still shouting out the names of the boys who have died. The speech by Lloyd George is real, every word is real, but of course Ethel's demonstration is the author's invention. In houses like these in Mayfair lived the wealthiest people that had ever existed. But to be a woman in such a wealthy and privileged family was to be a prisoner. And one of the dramas in Fall of Giants concerns the efforts of Maud, the daughter of a very wealthy family, to find ways in which she can spend just a minute or two alone with the man she loves.